All right. So yeah, again, welcome everyone for today's office hours. So these are December's office hours for Full Stack DR, and we have myself, Greg, Rafael, and Venkat from Winfo, who's going to talk about their success story of using Full Stack DR for their environment. So we'll be talking about in a while. So this is what I have. So I'm going to talk some of the upcoming features. So that's why I have put this safe harbor statement. So the timelines which I mentioned may change, and also the feature things, I mean the feature stuff, other things could change. So that's why I've just highlighted the safe harbor statement here. So looks this is the agenda we have. So we are using this new AskTom live platform. So I just want to give a couple of minutes introduction about this, maybe for the folks who are joining for the first time, right? To understand about the logistics of how to use this, because this is the forum or the tool we are going to use for hosting our office servers going forward, right? And then after, as I mentioned, we have multiple new enhancements and features coming up in next couple of months. I'm going to talk about at very high level. Maybe in next month's office hours, we'll go a deep dive and also show some demos on that. But a quick glimpse of what is coming up by end of this year and then beginning of next year. And I will hand it over to Venkat to talk about how Winfo Solutions have used Full Stack DR for their applications and also for their end customers, and what kind of benefits they have seen using the service, right? And then this is the topic I took based upon the voting we had in last month's office hours. So we did a voting of which topic you would like to understand more. So majority we got Oracle database integration with full stack DR. So I have a couple of slides where I'll talk about the length and breadth of what you need to do in terms of using Oracle database with full stack DR. And if time permits, right, again, I've just put it in the agenda because we already talked about at high level about the Terraform module in last month's of servers, but I'll try to do a quick demo if we get enough time. And then, of course, finally, we'll open it up for any questions and answer, right? And if you have any questions, don't hesitate. Please put it in Q&A panel. And of course, if you want to speak up, we are more than happy to take that as well as we go along. Right. So the platform we are using is AskTom Live. So this is from the popular AskTom platform where multiple product managers host their office hours for various topics. And we started using this from last month. So we are hosting this every month on Thursdays. So currently we're doing it on a second Thursday. We're just trying to figure it out which works best for them depending on the people who are attending from various time zone. But currently from next month also we are going to have a monthly office hours from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific time, right? Uh, since you're already here, you have registered for the series. So I'm assuming you have registered for the series as well. So we have a series available. So if I add any new sessions, right, once you're registered for the series, you get automatic notification for all the subsequent sessions which we are going to add to the series, right? So just register for the series, you're done. And then similarly, how you got notification today, based upon your registration, you'll get reminders about the notification on the day of the event. The only thing you have to do is currently it doesn't add the invite to your calendar, but once you click this session, right, you can download your calendar file in local folder, and then you can import it to your calendar, right? So that is something you have to do. But rest of the things like getting reminders and other things will be taken care by the tool automatically for you. And the great thing with this tool is we will be uploading all the recorded sessions. So even if you miss out any sessions, you can just go back to the series page and then you can look at the replay for all the sessions which you are doing or we've done it in past. Right? So example for November, we have recorded it and it's available for you to look at it. And even today's session is recorded. So if you have anyone to look at it, right, you can always go back to the page and then you can watch the recording. And then, as I said, right, we are hosting in a Pacific time zone, but if you have any requirement where you want to host it in, let's say, in Asia Pacific time or EMEA time, right, do contact me. We're happy to organize depending on the interest we're getting from people, right? And similarly, how Venkat is presenting from their perspective of using full stack DR. If you are our customer and if you want to talk about your success story, provide feedback, right? We are more than happy to accommodate you to speak up in this office service, right? So if you want to do that, do contact me offline through LinkedIn or through my official email, which I put in the chat. Cool. So the next section, as I mentioned, I'm going to talk about the upcoming new features coming up in December, January. Uh, so again, the timelines could change, and also the features can slip up here and there. So that's why I've made a clear safe harbor statement. So the first thing, the big one, is we have a lot of customers who are asking for the service availability in the US government cloud and defense cloud. So that is going to rolled out this month. So if you have any customers who are looking for to use full stack DR in those two realms, then you have a great news of using the service in those two regions. Right? So that's the first thing. And the second one is for integration cloud. Uh, we are going to have a native member type support, right? Similarly, how you could add compute database storage today. In this release, you'll have a resource type where you could add your integration instance. So there are some prereq. One of the major thing is it should be Oracle Integration 3, and also it should use the Oracle Managed ER. And there are specific region where this feature is available. Again, these are all the prereqs from the Oracle integration service perspective. So you have to make sure you satisfy those in order to take advantage of the disaster recovery APIs available from the integration service. Right? So once you are good in that, then you can add your integration instance with the protection groups. And then based on the plan you create, then we will pre-populate the recovery steps for you automatically. So that is something we are planning it in next couple of weeks. And the next part, as we do it for all our service, right? From the OCI console with the integration cloud, we will see the relationship with full stack DR, right? Whether you have configured it or not. If not, there'll be an option to go ahead and configure, right? So that is something we are planning it in January timeframe. Okay? And then similarly for MySQL, we have rolled out the member support in August, September timeframe. Now we are working with the MySQL support, product team to provide the console-based integration as part of this release. So the next section we have done, we are planning to release a lot of optimization in terms of DR plan and execution. The first one is a really interesting one. So currently today, what you can do, right? So let's take a simple example. You have a couple of moving compute instance in a volume group, right? Added it to the primary protection group, and you go ahead and create your switchover plan, right? In the standby. Then the full stack DR service will automatically introspect and then it pre-populate all the built-in protection groups PAN groups for you, right? So there'll be a stop compute instance and then switch over volume groups and then launch compute instance, right? So these are all called plan groups. So each plan groups will have steps depending on the number of members you add. So currently you cannot move around any steps from a specific a built-in plan group, right? So there was an interesting use case, one of our customer, right? So they have close to 400, 2000 VMs they are using with full stack DR as a moving instance, right? But the challenge with them is since it comes as a specific plan group, right? All the steps will be run in parallel in a specific plan group. So they ask us a requirement of, hey, I want to start specific compute instance in a specific order rather than I start everything at one go, right? So with this feature, right, we are helping up to overcome that challenge, right? So basically, you can create a user-defined group, and then you can move around the built-in plan groups which we create, and then you can specify it according to your requirements, right? So this way, if you have any requirement to start a specific compute instance or do a switchover of a specific database as a group, right, then you have a functionality which help you to achieve that. Right? Again, I kept it at high level. Maybe in subsequent officers, we'll show a quick demo of how to use that. And then the second one, what we call as a plan step summary. So again, it's a very small enhancement, right? So currently, once you execute a plan, you'll just see the status of all the plan execution in the plan execution groups, right? But in the plan execution, we are going to provide a neat summary of, okay, how many have been succeeded, how many is failed or get warning, right? So it gives a nice summary tab of your plan execution. Right? So currently we don't have that, so that will be something rolled out as part of this feature. And the third one, again, it's a small enhancements we are doing with respect to pre-checks. So, so currently there are only two things, right? Either it succeed or it fails, right? So if there are any errors which we find out in a specific pre-check, right? The overall pre-checks gets failed. Right? So what we are doing with this enhancement is we are introducing another uh, field which is called completed with warning, right? Succeeded with warning, sorry. So if there are any minor things which we can ignore as part of the pre-check, right? So this will be marked as succeeded with warning, so that the overall pre-check will not marked as failed, right? So example is one thing is for a compute, right? Let's say you have multiple NSTs where you haven't added to the VNIC, right? Or if there is another requirement which it doesn't require mandatorily to execute as part of the pre-check, then we'll capture that as succeeded with warning rather than making it as failed, right? So that's the third feature. And the last one is this is with respect to the user-defined group. So if you have used the user-defined group, right? So there are two ways of you can pass your script, right? One, you can use the local instance and then, sorry, a VM instance, and then you can put your script in the local folder. And then the other way of doing it is through object storage, right? So with this feature, this is for the object storage, then you can specify an archive file, right? So let's say you have a script which is stored as fsdr.zip, right? And then inside the folder you have a script called star.sh, right? So you can just specify the archive folder with the parameter, and then full stack DR will automatically help you to execute as part of your archive which is specified in the object storage. So again, this is another requirement which came through our internal teams. So that is something we are rolling out as part of this. And the last one,
There was a, oh, go ahead. Sorry. After
no,
this, there was a question that we wanted
yeah,
to
maybe
answer
I'll just
live.
finish
Go
this.
ahead.
Yeah, we can take up this. Yeah. So the last one is again, it's a very small one with respect to OKE. So we are introducing another field which is called the resource modifier. Again, I don't have a lot of details here, but this is an enhancement to the resource modifier. We'll cover it in the next office hours.
Yeah, okay. Desiree had a, I think I'm saying your name correctly. She had a question in chat. Let's bring that
Chat.
back real quick. Yeah, let's look at chat real quick. She wanted to know, DR drills support for snapshot to physical, which we do right now for Exa and Autonomous. Base database, they don't have that feature built into their product yet. But when they do, then we'll provide DR drill support for that. For right now, DR drill, we support autonomous and automatically, and then also any that X's. And then autonomous gives you additional, not just snapshot standby, but autonomous. Also, you can choose if you want to use snapshot or you want to use a full clone or refreshable clone. Support for load balancer certificates in the DR plans. I don't know, we've talked about that before. If there's some demand out there, then we would probably look at additional things that we could do with load balancer certificates. And then support for backup and restore. Um, yeah, this may be a little premature, and I can't say, you know what, we're not going to talk about that. It's on the roadmap. Let's just say it's on the roadmap. Backup, restore for virtual machines. Okay, it's on the roadmap. All right. Hopefully that answered everything that you had there. And then Surge is going to demo the other one that you were asking about because she was also asking about the reorder plan groups, which I call, which you'll see in our documentation because I'm getting that written, the draft written for that right now. It's called dependency mapping, but in the application, that's what we do, and that's what the the reorder plan groups and steps are. It's a dependency mapping, more granular dependency mapping. Anyway, he's going to demo that.
Yeah, sure. I
It's
will do it maybe once Venkat is done with his success story. So, so now I'll hand it over to Venkat for talking about how they have used full stack DR. Uh, for their internal applications as well as for their end customers.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Suraj. Probably I can. Thanks so
Yeah,
much.
I will share
Let
share.
me. Yeah. Let me do a quick screen share. Hello, everyone. I'm Venkat Muthadi. Probably I'll just quickly introduce myself and then get into this. So I'm director at Winfo Solutions, responsible for the engineering services, the cloud infra, and the databases, taking care of internally and as well as for the customers. Probably I'll just start with a quick introduction about Winfo, what we are, Winfo Solutions. So we are, while we are a customer, as Suraj said, we are partners for Oracle, where we are basically in Oracle working across various areas with Oracle, especially Fusion ERP, Fusion applications, Oracle Business Suite, and OCI. So as part of our portfolio, we do have solutions that we provide to our services, our customers, which is you can see on the right, Winfo Test, Winfo Bots, Winfo CloudX, etc. And especially this session is more about that talks about a couple of solutions. Winfo Test and Winfo Bots. These are the SaaS offerings for customers. For testing automation is Winfo Test, and business process automations, Winfo Bots. And these are hosted in OCI, and that's where we leverage OCI functionality, various services offerings across OCI to provide the SaaS solution. Why? So we are Oracle level 2 partner. We are cloud service, cloud sell partners as well, cloud build partners as well for Oracle, working across US, UK, and Middle East customer base, where we work with customers across these regions. That's quick about Winfo. I think I'll probably jump into solution Winfo, our story, where it started, the journey, the challenges, etc. As I said initially, right, there are two solutions that we have, Winfo Test and Winfo Bots. These are our two SaaS offerings to our customers, which are responsible to perform testing automation. Winfo Test is testing automation service, and we have entire stack, our Winfo OCI stack within OCI, within there is different architecture for each applications that covers like multi-tenancy. And when a new customer is onboarded, we have to build the required infrastructure, which is automated infrastructure, building it. And then the key piece is also one of the most important pieces are the DR, because we need to align, we need to ensure the applications database, we have the DR strategy, the BCP strategy in place, and with good amount of customer base. As the customer base grows, the increase in number of environments that we have to build, because these are dedicated infrastructure that we provide to customers. So the number grows. The challenge is more about how do we reduce our time in bringing up the systems. Initially, this journey started the DR automation 2 years back, where we initially thought to automate manually using Jenkins, the CI/CD tools like Ansible, etc. And that's where, when we started looking at within OCI what's offering, that's where it just started as a beta, where we started with them. And so this is basically to reduce our bigger customer base, reduce our RTO. Other biggest challenge is about setting up the DR, setting up the required automation to bring up the standby immediately in case of any scenario. These are the key things. So while number of instances are more, the amount of time it takes for us to restore, because each environment, each system is different, we have to take care each and every one separately. That's a key, and that's where this automation with an FSDR has actually brought us down. I'll go into bit details about our systems, but that's the problem statement that we had, and we started, and we were using for last 2 years, this solution. So these are the typical components right now that we have. The compute, we have base database services, leveraging Active Data Guard as well, and we use file systems, block volumes, object stores for the data across. While we don't have a load balancer as a replication, integration within the load balancer is actually simplified for us not to worry about again reconfiguring it back, etc. The configuration, the backends to the load balancer. So we have load balancers, WAF as well as part of our overall DR components. Okay, I'll just quickly go into an overall architecture, how our DR, a typical standard for a architecture of a DR. So I think, as you already know, for an FSDR, it's a a fully automated framework that helps you to automate your DR procedure, the faster standby, switchover, failover, and the beauty is more about the drills, start drill and stop drill, which are really handy for us rather than doing a standby, a switchover, or a failover that helps in really validating, etc. So the baseline for that is basically setting up your environment. So this is where the architecture, how generally it looks like. So the VMs, we have the VMs in place with a cross-region replication. So we have primary and standby region across, not just, this is an example from US, we do have UK, we do have Europe as well, systems running across, where we replicate our using the VMs are all replicated using cross-region replication. We have block volumes replicated. We do have object storage replication. Even in fact, file systems as well with the snapshot mode replicated. So these are the baselines with the database as well. Data guard that's in place. That's key. So and everything is wrapped around using FSDR, DR protection groups. So we segregate based on our own internal customers, etc., segregate as a protection group so that we have a better control whenever we have to do a switchover. That also gives an edge so that we don't have to really, should I do an entire FSDR at once, etc., or separate as required, etc. Okay, so we have. So I just want to highlight two things here. So there are two parts for us. One of the challenges is not about you set up the DR, it's there for time and you don't have to worry. And whenever you have to do a drill, that's not the only problem that we have. The other problem is because as we keep getting new customers, we onboard new customers to Winfo Test. When we build a new environment, setting up a DR and having that into an automated framework is also key. So what we did is, while FSDR is very good really in terms of automating your entire DR procedure, not just the OCI, but also leveraging with the user-defined steps. We also leverage, so we've wrapped it around as a Jenkins. We use Jenkins as our CI/CD, where we leveraged OCI, CLIs of FSDR, CLI to build the stack itself, setting up the DR production groups, setting up the DR plans, everything is an automated. So when a new customer is onboarded, our stack is in place fully in a couple of hours. It's not just the infrastructure. I have my primary, my standby ready, replicated, and the DR thing is there. And same thing for our own, because our Jenkins is our own CI/CD and automation framework, where we leverage it for everything, our deployments. And we plugged in our FSDR as well into into Jenkins, so that we have a centralized console as well to manage all the stack with a good number of things, etc. So these are the two additional things that we did. So there are two advantages. We were not really worried about 80% of the infrastructure automation, especially with databases, VMs, block volumes, etc. All of them are taken care. We just had to write very much 4 to 5 handy scripts, which are more as some specific OS configuration, start, stop of application stuff, and some app configurations related to the integrations as such. Which means we spent probably spent this entire automation we were able to complete in a 2 to 3 weeks validating, etc. So that, and we have the running thing in place. So rather than our initial plan was, it might take us for us 6 months, where our initial plan was to use OCI CLI to bring up everything on the standby. We have write our own playbook stuff, etc. That has brought down completely. So that's one piece. Setting up the DR is one piece, and the execution of the DR is another piece. Okay. One of the key things that I specifically feel better or leveraged is I just want to highlight, and recently some of them have been released as well a few months back. First one is about the pause step. This is really handy, where we will always generally have a lot of other dependencies, especially there are some things that are not integrated, but you need to do manually. It could be a simple validation. It could be a simple DNS update. So the pause step was really useful, where you just, your activity stops there and you know what you have to do, and then come back, resume. That was really useful. So that it's not that you go back and do everything manually. You still have your framework in place. And it also gives us a very clear picture at the end. What is the total window of your RPO, which is our RPO is a major target, right? That gives some exact window for audit purposes as well. The pause steps, the user-defined steps is something useful. And with the recent addition of pre-validations of user, this is something that we had problem. I just want to highlight user defined when we were doing a switchover, because we do not have validation ahead previously 6 months back. We were not, so we did miss some validation, and when we did a DR drill, it really failed. And then realized, okay, I missed this SSH setup. That's something before I have to do as a mandatory, otherwise this will fail. So this pre-checks, when we added and then started, we were able to leverage those as well, so that my drill or switchover to the extent are seamless, avoiding those nitty-gritty issues. Okay. And obviously the scripts, either you can leverage object store or you can have your own scripts bundled into your source environment, which are replicated to your target as part of that, and leverage those scripts to reconfigure everything back and then start. As a root user, you have your own users privilege, leveraging the run command utility as well to simplify. So you don't have to really do anything manual except some things that are completely out of scope. Okay. Yep, I just gave some images of how it looks like. So this is a Jenkins interface on the right side, where you can see some information, our tenancy, the region, and the kind of name, our environment name, whether it's a drill, stop drill, etc. Because we have other dependencies which are completely out of OCI. So we had to wrap it around, making it much more easier. And this is where how the execution looks like when we submit it. So this is full. So the core application piece happens through OCI. There are certain integrations it's outside. Those happen through Jenkins. Some things that we could not handle, like past steps, right? We could not handle. We did through Jenkins, taking care of those things. So you can see the screenshot that talks about how much time it took. So 9 minutes is the one where we were able to do a start everything, including from VMs, database, and everything, and then start the services. And that was, if I have to do manually, right, creating a block volume from the backup. First, I need to restore the block volume, VMs, bring up the VM from the boot volume, etc. That, from a human perspective, if I have to do manually, I need to capture screenshots, everything, take care, every step-by-step documentation is also very key. This has brought down a bigger documentation to pretty small. All I have one job, submit it. So that could take about 2 hours for us. And our target was actually 4 hours of RPO, because it includes not just the bringing up services, it includes a certain validation that the business has to do, the support team has to take care that these are all working before we release it. So we were able to cut down to 2 hours overall from 4 hours for one of the automation. And this actually, it's not about just these 2 hours. We have like 20 different systems wherein we were able to we can submit all those 20 at a time, and then just monitor and ensure things are going fine. So you don't need like 10 DBAs sitting, 20 systems taking care. Probably you may need 2 to 3 DBAs monitoring, getting these things done, which has reduced my downtime, increased my accuracy in terms of bringing up effectively. Obviously that's a bigger benefit, the cost savings, not just time and the people cost, and especially odd hours bringing in onboard is a challenge, which also addressed by this one. Okay. Yeah, I think this is just an extension to that. I just want to just show one more screenshot, which is 15 minutes, which is again, I think it's a duplicate, but yeah, detailed steps, what exactly happens, list summary of high level steps, compute. We have app scripts running. Those are the user defined steps that run as part of the configuration once the VMs are provisioned. Okay. Okay, I think, yeah, that's all. Probably I just thought of giving a quick overview how it really helped. I hope this helps in everyone to some extent to take it back and then see if it can be implemented from their side.
Yeah, thanks, Venkat. This is fantastic. Thanks for sharing all the details. I know,
Happy
like
to answer.
it may sound simple, but I know it helps a lot in terms of optimizing your way how you deploy your infrastructure and also the DR capabilities.
Yeah.
Cool. Maybe before I go, you guys have any questions to Venkat because he may log off. So if you have any questions, we are happy to unmute you so you can ask directly to Venkat. Maybe I'll pause it for a couple of minutes. If you guys have any questions, maybe you can raise your hand. I can unmute you so you can directly ask Venkat. Okay, I can see a couple of tries. Okay,
Yeah.
Raja has answered. Oh, sorry, question. Maybe I will allow him to talk. Raja, you can go ahead and ask a question.
Hey, hello everyone. Hello Suraj. Thanks for giving the opportunity. Hello Venkat. This is Raj here. And again,
Hey,
this is
Raj.
completely technical. I'm really surprised, right? So Jenkins are also part of it where we can able to customize some of the things. The way how we have been used, yes, most probably that was the initial thing what we are also using. There was a couple of hurdles, just like as you might have been already been have some limitations with FSTR, especially the file system piece, because right the where we are trying to have some the Exadata systems with the GFS storage, and again the GFS again part of the OCI itself. But in some cases, right, we are using it as a backup mount points inside the Exadata system. But at the time of DR, when we are doing it, yeah, we couldn't able to get the GFS piece inside of it, to get the backup mounts are in place and to run some to run some restores from it. So have you ever faced this kind of stuff when you had to have your backups in one of the NFS storage or protocols? So were you able to overcome that using the same snapshot methodology, or do you have to do it separately for the GFS to be in place?
So, yeah, I'm not sure about GSF, but we definitely used FS the NFS, right, the standard FSS storage, especially where these are the FSS that are. So when you say GFS, is that an FS mount coming from somewhere, or is it Oracle FS file storage service?
It's not the Oracle FS, but again, the GFS system is within the OCI. It is one of the
I think there is a
appliances.
marketplace available.
Yeah,
Probably you
marketplace
might be
GFS.
using that.
That's correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
probably no, I'm not. I don't know. I don't have answer for that. But FSS is something that we use. We had some issue and we were able to handle later in terms of mounting that NFS mount point. I mean, automated. It's basically taken care by now automatically by FSTR. But
Yeah.
no, something not
Thank you.
aware of.
I believe, sorry if I may take one more question from you. I believe for the load balancer piece, I'm going to give the others the chance as well. But for the load balancer piece, right, as we have when you're handling it at the DR level, so are you able to pre-configure it first, or are you just allowing some of the scripts through Jenkins? Like, how do you like?
So there are two things for us here. So as I said, two solutions, right? I have one of the solution where we have the load balancer pre-configured. It's always required. So except the backends. So as part of the FSDR, we have that link in place. So this will automatically configure the backends to the FSD to the load balancer standby as part of the drill, start drill or switchover. And there is a scenario for us where we do not want to have load balances because we have good number of where there's a dedicated multi-tenancies. We do not want as a solution itself. We don't want load balances to be in place upfront, but we have an automation around using. That's where we use Jenkins. So as part of the build, this will create the load balances. And first the FSDR completes and the load balancer gets created. We have an automated script and then attaches the VMs to the load balancer. So it all depends on your scenario, how it works. So when you have it defined that you would like to have a load balancer always running because it has a cost. So this is more about cost savings because we may have to spend like 15, 20 load balances, which we don't really want. So that is something that we handled through Jenkins. As I said, we have something around Jenkins, right? We use the Jenkins and then build it. But if you have a requirement, always single load balancer does not cost you much. Have it pre-configured so that you don't have to worry about a lot of automation around. FSDR will take care of attaching with the backend sets. That's a setup that you do in the FSDR configuration.
Yeah, thank you very much. I believe that was one of the thing what we are trying to achieve, the fully fledged untouched version of the FSDRs, what we are trying to achieve. But yeah, good to know that. Yeah, thank you very much for the information.
Okay, great.
Welcome.
Thanks, Venkat. So thank you for again sharing your success story with us. So yeah, let's move on to the next, the remaining of the agenda. Share my screen.
All right, so you're going to do the demo of the.
Yeah, I will do the demo. This one, right? The reordering group. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not yet there in production, guys. If you try, it will not be there. Again, we are planning to roll it out in next week or so, right? So what this feature is about. So currently, I have a plan. This is a switchover plan. I have a bunch of members. You could see, zoom in. Yeah, so you can see things like compute stop, volume group, file system, database, autonomous, MySQL. So all sorts of members are there, right? So currently, like what you can do is you can reorder the groups. So this is the new thing we'll have once this feature is rolled out. You'll have this section called reorder groups and steps, right? So let's take one of the built-in plan group, right? So let's take this one, right? So I have 4 compute instances, right? You can see 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I have a requirement, right, where I want to currently, if you just leave it as it is, right, then what it will happen as part of the sequence of execution, right? Then it basically goes through a sequential manner, and then all the steps inside a plan group will start parallelly. Okay? But let's assume you have a requirement where you want to start these 2 compute instances initially, right? And then do a database switchover, right? And then you start your application, and then rest of the other 2 compute instances and do a bunch of other things as part of your requirement, right? So if that is your requirement, you could easily achieve with this feature, right? So what you need to do is first you need to create a user-defined group, right? Because this is part of the built-in, you need to create a user-defined, right? So you can I have a user-defined group. Let's assume I'm going to use this, right? So you can just go here, right? Reorder plan groups and steps. Then you can navigate to the compute instance launch, right? Let's say I want to move this one. You can say move steps to group. And then I will say I want to move this one, right? Right. So you can see this compute have moved around to this one, right? Similarly, if you want to move around other steps inside a plan group to a specific user-defined group, then you have an option to do this. So this is at high level. Again,
Oh, hey,
what benefits you
can
get.
I show something else that's a common thing that people like to do? Just tell you. So move the heat wave database into the autonomous database group,
Oh,
and
okay.
then both databases start in parallel then.
Okay, yeah. So what Greg is trying to say is, okay, I want to group all my database, right, into a single plan group. Okay, so if that is the case, I can just move my MySQL database to the autonomous database, right? Similarly, if I want to move uh, my base database, right, to let's say the autonomous
Same
database
one.
switchover, yeah, then you can do that as well. Right? So this gives a flexibility of grouping all your steps either to an user-defined plan group or an existing uh, built-in plan group, right? So that's the in nutshell what you can do. Right? Did I miss anything? Yeah, one thing which you want to take care cautiously is you have to make sure you take care of the dependencies, right? So what I mean by that is, let's say you're playing around with this, right? And then mistakenly you have moved around the launch compute before the volume group switchover, right? So if that is the case, then it will basically fail, right? So we generally recommend this to first you understand the built-in plan groups in what specific order we ideally will have, because that is something an intelligence has been put in to do in a specific order in order for a successful plan execution. On top of it, if you have any requirements similar to what I mentioned, right, then you can play around with this reorder group and steps, and then you can group it according to your business tech. Hope I kind of clarified most of the stuff what we could do. Greg, if you want to add anything on top of this.
No, that's just coming out. Should be coming. You should be able to see this in there and by the, let's say 16th, so 17th or so.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be there. Should be.
Okay, cool. Sorry, why did I share streaming? Sorry about that. Yeah, so we have another 10 minutes, right? Okay, so let me quickly go through this one. So this is based on last month's poll. Before that, I just want to start a poll so that we know what we can talk about in next month's. Let's launch the poll. Yeah. Can you spend a minute to answer this poll so that we can take your interest feedback and then we can align our session next month for the topic. I'll give another 15 seconds. Okay, a lot of answers coming in for prereqs. So let's compute. I know prereqs is one of an important thing you guys have to take care before start using the service. So that's one of the thing which we want to optimize it further, how we can automate that. So there is a kind of tie happening between prereq and compute. And then load balancer is also there. Okay, cool. So I'll end the poll. So I have the details available. I will watch out the final numbers and accordingly we will align the topic in next month's session. Thank you for that. Okay. So let me go ahead with the database part, right? So again, most of the things you should be already aware about that, but probably for the folks who have not integrated database, right? This might be a good refresher or what kind of prereqs you need to have. The important things what you need to do before start integrating the database, Oracle database with full stack DR, right? So currently as a member, right, we support all the PaaS services available in OCI today, right? Base database, Excel database, dedicated, exascale, clouded customer, autonomous, serverless, and then dedicated and clouded customer. The major prerequisite is you must configure the Oracle Data Guard or autonomous data guard depending on the service you use, right? And then it's highly recommended you should use the control plane or the OCI Cloud Console to set up the data guard between the database system depending on the service you use. So that's the primary requirement before start using full stack DR, right? You have to take care of that. Right? So once that is done, then you could simply add your database into the protection group like any other member, right? So you should add your primary database into the primary protection group, and then the standby database into the standby protection group. And then, of course, ideally, you will not have only the database. You will be having your dependent compute storage and other services which you want to use with full stack DR, depending on your application requirements. So go ahead and add that as well. And then once you're done that, you'll go ahead and create the plans in the standby DR protection group feature, right? So then full stack DR will generate the built-in plan groups for the database members which you added. It will introspect the data guard integration, I mean, the data guard association available from the services. So if you don't have the data guard association created through the cloud console or the control plane, right, then you will not see any built-in plan groups getting created, or you'll get an error when you create a plan, right? So that is really important. Why should you have the data guard creation through the OCI console, right? And then we also recently announced another feature which is called automatic DR configuration. So that is available for a specific set of database. One is autonomous database serverless dedicated, and then XDBT. So this is an optional feature. You can enable it. So we have events monitoring integrated with our service. So if a database switchover happens outside of the full stack DR, right, then based on that we monitor that, and then the trigger the alerts get monitored, and then it will basically go ahead and initiate the overall switchover or the failover plan, which is part of your protection group. Right. Again, I have a separate blog. We have more details about it if you want to understand more about that. But I just want to highlight this is specifically available only for database at the moment, and we plan to roll it out for the other services in our upcoming releases. Okay, so this is you want to do once you have your data guard enabled through the cloud automation, right? But apart from that, there are a few things you, especially for drills and then where customers were using data guard outside of the cloud automation, right? You can also use full stack DR, right? So the first thing I want to highlight is for the drill plans, right? I have a summary table in the next slide. But today, if you are using base DB or XIDB exascale, right? Though you have created the data guard association to Cloud Console, when you create a start drill plan or stop drill plan, you'll not see the plan groups automatically created for those two services alone. The reason is those two services doesn't provide the APIs for converting a physical standby to snapshot standby and vice versa of today. So recently the XADBD and XSEC started supporting and we have integrated that. So if you have any XADBD and XA Clouded customer, you should see that. But currently these two services lack that APIs. But the product team are working on that. The database product team are working on that to make that available. So once it is made available, we will go ahead and make that as part of the drill plan. But if you are using this service today, right, for drill plans, you should use the custom user-defined plan groups and then create scripts. So Venkat talked about, right, they use base DB. For the drill plans, they create their own custom scripts and then they internally use the broker command to convert the database stores, right? So that's the approach. Ideally, you should use it if you're using base DB today, and then if you want to use the drill plans, right? And then the second one, I want to highlight this as well. So this is available for all these mentioned services, where if you have configured the data guard outside of the control plane, right, for various requirements, like maybe you're running in an auto release or you have cascaded standby where we don't have the out-of-box support from the cloud services, or various reasons where you have went ahead and deployed the data guard outside of the cloud automation. We recently announced a tutorial where the script is created by our development team and we support that fully through Oracle support in case if there are issues. So if you want to integrate those data guard deployments into full stack DR, I highly recommend to look out for this. I mean, watch out these tutorials. We have a detailed step-by-step where how you can download a script from GitHub repo and then how you can customize the script. So I have written this tutorial very lengthy, so you can go and use this if you have any requirement, and then you are part of this group where a data guard has been created, but through a manual or way of creating the data guard. And finally, we get this question a lot. I want to cover this as well, right? There are a few customers who run Oracle database and IaaS VMs, right? If that is the case, right, ideally, being database is database, you should not be relying on storage replication. You should use the data guard for doing the DR for your database running in VMs. And again, for that as well, right, you can use the same method of configuring user-defined groups and then invoke the broker commands to perform switchover, failover, and drill operations, right? Right. So these are the things I just want to highlight. If you are using Oracle database, I think I've covered most of the things which you need to have in order to use full stack DR. Okay, the last one, it's a summary table, right? Again, whatever I've spoken, I've just summarized it here. For which services we create built-in and which services you need user-defined. So only two things which are highlighted in orange, right? Light orange. This is where you need user-defined plan groups. This is for the drill plans for the base DB as well as the XADB exascale. But for the rest of the services, for all the plans, we provide the built-in plan groups automatically, assuming if you go ahead and create the data guard through the cloud console, right? And then, as I mentioned, finally, once the APIs are made available for these two services, we will incorporate that as part of our service so that you get the built-in plan groups for this two services also. Cool. Any questions? We have chat, a lot of questions in chat.
Okay. Yeah, most of the questions were answered, Suresh.
Okay, cool. So I have about another 7 minutes, right? So maybe I can do a quick demo of this Terraform module also. It will not take maybe 3-4 minutes. So we recently released this module. I don't know how many folks are aware about this. So this is the module link. So you can use this module to create, configure, add members, run a plan, do a pre-check and plan execution, everything from Terraform, right? So we have a modular level modules, create modules we have created for all the resources which you want to use with full stack VR. And there is an example also we made available where you can go ahead and try this one, right? So let me quickly show that to you. So this is the GitHub repository I was talking about, right? So we have an example section where for this example, right, I've taken the members as a compute, moving compute, and then an autonomous database, primary and standby, and then the volume group and the compute instance in the primary, right? So if you have any such topology, right? Again, this member is just example. You can modify it according to your requirements. So you can just download the repository, and then you can just follow the instructions available here. Right? Let me quickly put this on here. So let me download this for you. So I'm downloading the GitHub repo here. Right? So you could see there are multiple TF files and also modules available in this directory. So I will navigate to this example folder. This is where I have my Terraform code for this configuration. Okay. So you could see there'll be a main.tf and then providers.tf. So you can read the instructions, what's available in the GitHub repository. The first thing you need to do is you need to update a providers.tf with the region details and also your auth details so that it can authenticate to your tenancy, right? So we do it. I have already available here. I just paste this one. Okay, so once this is done, I can just do a Terraform init. So while it's doing, we have created this example in an YAML file so that it is much easier for you to go ahead and update your configurations, like example, creating the production group and so on, right? So example, this is how the example looks like, right? So you'll have, so this is the first thing we are creating the production groups, right? And then you can go ahead and add the members based upon which is the primary and standby. And then once the members are done, you can finally go ahead and create the plans. And once the plans are available, you can just go ahead and run the pre-checks. And then finally, you can go ahead and run the actual execution. So in my current configuration, I have, see what I have. So I just have only the protection group details. Okay, so I just want to start the basic protection group, and then I want to associate. So if I run a Terraform plan, then what it will do is it will show you the details of what's going to happen. So it's going to create two resources. One, it will create the protection group, and then it will add the association, right? So this is how it's simple, right? So you just need to follow the instructions available here, and then you can start configuring your protection groups depending on the members. Right? So I highly recommend folks to try this out. And if you have any feedback or if you're facing any issues, right, you can create an issue in the GitHub, and we will look at it, and then we'll provide a resolution or we'll optimize the code further to solve that problem. Cool. That's it. Yeah, I think I'm coming to the end of the session. So this is a single page of the resource, so you can look at our product page. Maybe for the folks who haven't seen our product page, we have all the resources which you need in terms of getting started. And then you have product briefs, you have user guides, troubleshooting guides, videos, tutorials, live labs, pricing guides, FAQ, right? So anything to do with service, if you want to get started, you can look at our product page. And of course, if you need further information, right, you can contact me, Greg, or Raphael. We are more than happy to help.